Well, John, the Democrats are keen to capitalise, as they see it, on the momentum they gained last week. We know that they have subpoenaed the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. He has until Friday to hand over any relevant documents. There will also be two deposition hearings behind closed doors this week, one with the former US ambassador to Ukraine. She was removed from her position in May, and a second with a special former US envoy to Ukraine, who himself resigned just now on Friday. We may also hear from the whistleblower himself. He's said to be ready to give testimony again behind closed doors because he does not want his identity to be blown.
So how's the president dealing with this?
As you can imagine, John, take a look at his Twitter feed. He is not happy with the speed with which all of this is progressing. He's accused the top Democrat in charge of the discussion, in charge of the panel who's pushing forward these investigations. He's accused him of treason and said that he should be potentially arrested. And equally frustrating for him, the top Democrat in charge, the top Republican, I should say, in charge of the Senate, he has said that if the House presses ahead with impeachment, then the Senate will have to press ahead with the trial. In the last few minutes, the president has said he wants to know the identity of the whistleblower.
Siobhan Kennedy in Washington. Now, Ukraine is a country that has been plagued by corruption, and people there have been surprised by the massive waves that President Trump's dealings with their new president have created in the United States. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilson, reports now from the capital, Kiev, on the allegations levelled at Donald Trump and the allegations his administration is levelling at his political rival, Joe Biden.
He was a world heavyweight champion before being elected mayor of Kiev. Dr. Iron Fist, as they call him, blessing a newly refurbished tram line. And who was his inspiration?
I know Rudy a pretty long time. He's one of the successful mayors of the world, have a great experience in self-government and as mayor, and give a lot of advice to me as colleague.
What's the best advice he gave you?
Never give up.
As his defense lawyer, it's my job.
Giuliani certainly isn't giving up. On US TV yesterday, he persisted with his and President Trump's allegation that Joe Biden got a Ukrainian prosecutor sacked in order to protect his son from investigation.
That's not true. Biden was firing very bad, corrupt prosecutor. And one of the reasons this very bad, corrupt prosecutor had to be fired because he failed investigating the company where Hunter Biden was in the advisory board.
So do you see any evidence that Joe Biden was trying to protect his son from some kind of prosecution in Ukraine?
It was quite to the contrary. Joe Biden was demanding resignation of a prosecutor who failed investigating company where his son was in the board.
Today, President Volodymyr Zelensky, who before his election was a comedian who played the president, is resisting pressure from a president who used to be a reality TV star.
We're open and we're ready to investigate, but that has nothing to do with me. Our independent law enforcement agencies are ready to investigate if the law was broken. We're not doing anything on command. I'll say it again, we're an independent country. We are not following anyone else's orders.
Those close to the Ukrainian president, hedging their bets on Trump and Biden, are searching for the connections in the matrix.
As far as investigations, as he said and I reiterated, basically we need to look at all the cases on the table and see what happens with them.
But there is no case on the table against Joe Biden.
That's my point, basically. We are talking about a thing that doesn't exist. That's the biggest problem with the speculation in the last week. Nobody knows whether there is a case, whether there are any facts, whether there is any problem. Basically, we live in a country in which it is very possible to buy your case out and destroy it. There were such cases in Ukrainian history.
Indeed, there were. Here's Rudy Giuliani in 2017, landing in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, receiving a traditional welcome of salt and bread. He's been a paid advisor to another mayor, Hernady Karnes, in a wheelchair after an assassination attempt. Karnes has faced charges of violence and corruption, but all the cases were dropped. Here in Ukraine, oligarchs and those linked to organised crime have been known to buy off prosecutors or get them to bring cases against their enemies. Rudy Giuliani met several prosecutors and former prosecutors to see if there might be a case against the Bidens. Hunter Biden had opened himself up to that by getting involved with the Ukrainian company in the first place. And Giuliani knew that if you blow smoke, people will see fire.
It's very hard to fight this kind of disinformation, because if you put facts to contradict disinformation, the truth appears to be in the middle between fakes and between truth. So it's kind of the way to shift truth. And all this scandal is a beautiful example of the dangerous post-truth world.
Ukrainians love to ogle the ill-gotten multi-million-dollar brutalist chalet of Viktor Yanukovych, ousted as president in an uprising in 2014, now advertised as a museum of corruption. America used to be seen as a role model, a place where, unlike Ukraine, the line between the executive and the judiciary was clearly marked. No longer. Corruption here is outsized, and Ukrainians fear that their faltering attempts at overcoming it will be undermined by the impeachment of President Donald Trump, that they've been unwittingly forced to participate in an American Game of Thrones.